Hey everyone, I'm Joseph. I work at Obrizum as site reliability engineer. So I built a basic, maybe AI agent or wrapper. So I'm not sure how to define it during hackathon, and there was only one thing wasn't working during hackathon, but I fixed it. So I'm gonna show it here. So it's basically LLM-powered DevSecOps agent. So we use AWS CDK or Plumi or Terraform to provision cloud resources like EC2 instances, S3, etc. But as we all know, there are lots of resources and hard to configure them, and we all do mistakes and miss the things and cause some security vulnerabilities. And I thought maybe I can build a tool to detect those vulnerabilities before provision them. So that's why I built this tool. It's pretty basic. There is a GitHub Action workflow that I run the Dagger. And when I create a pull request, the Dagger app basically goes that pull request and leave the report. So let's do the basic demo.
Love it. And as you go through this, Joseph,
Yeah.
if you can, I know you're on a big screen. If you zoom in maybe one tick more, it'll be better for folks on smaller.
All right.
It's perfect. It's looking
Cool.
good.
Better. Yeah. Cool. So we have so I use Go SDK, and I have a bunch of functions. The first one is analyze CDK. The second one is scan with options. And let's go analyze CDK diff. And the fourth one is extract CDK resources. And yeah, perform LLM analysis as well. So these are the main things. So in this demo, we are going to use analyze CDK. What it does is so simple. First, it runs the extract CDK resources function, which is installing the dependencies in JavaScript repo. Maybe I can take us to there first. So this is my CDK codes. I have a Dagger Hackathon stack, and this stack contains many AWS resources like VPC, ECS cluster, task definition, and let's go to the Lambda function and S3 buckets. Yeah. There we go. So on purpose, I left a lot of security vulnerabilities in those resources, like this S3 bucket. It is publicly available. And I left here because I want my Dagger application can detect and tell me I made a mistake here and how can I fix it. And I want to also see the priority of this security vulnerability, because we want to see the priority and fix the most important one as quick as possible. And what I'm going to do is I will copy this S3 bucket here and just paste this place. And after that, let's call it 2 and save the file. And let's make sure this is 2. All right. And now let's assume I want to deploy this S3 buckets and I have to raise a PR. So let's check the differences right now. Git checkout. Let's say new S3 buckets. And the file is CDK, sorry. Okay. S3 buckets. All right, so I commit that file, and now I'm gonna push it. Oh yeah. All right. So now I have this branch here. So I'm gonna just create a PR using that branch. add S3 bucket demo. So I create this pull request, and after that, we will wait and see if my GitHub Action workflow triggered or not. There we go. So this GitHub Action workflow, which I'm going to show here. So basically, this GitHub Action workflow is triggered when you push anything into existing pull request or when you just open it. And after that, it installs Dagger CLI. And we need OpenAI key, of course, for the large language model, but you can also use cloud or other inference APIs as well. It uses OpenAI library, so you can fit with other environment variables. And after that, it calls the Dagger analyze CDK. I passed the path of the CDK here, and I export the values into SecOps report markdown file. So that's how we have the output. So we're gonna wait a few minutes. So if I scroll up a bit, actually I can show it in here as well, right? Oh yeah, I didn't log in the GitHub Action workflow. I show it when I run on my local machine. So here it basically went to the related CDK
Can you zoom us
repo.
in here too, Joseph, you think?
Absolutely. Sorry, I forgot this again.
Oh, no worries. Thank you.
So here we synthesize that CDK repository. So when you synthesize it, you can export is a JSON or YAML file. It basically tells what we're gonna create and provision in AWS, like this S3 buckets, for example. It is in the TypeScript code, but in this CDK basically converts that thing into CloudFormation template. So Dagger app basically synthesize that CDK repo and converts into a JSON file using CDK synth command. And after that, it gets the CloudFormation template. This is just an example. This is VPC, etc., etc. There are lots of things here. This is a huge JSON file. Just a bit more. Oh yeah. And after that, using the prompt, it starts generating some reports like public S3 buckets, the priority is high, etc. Well, let me go back to the PR because we're gonna see this report as a PR comment. Oh yeah, 3 minutes ago. Let me zoom in again.
Nice.
So the title was add S3 buckets, and I just added S3 bucket here. We scan the whole repo, not just the diff, and I'll come to that later, just in a bit. Here we have 5 very important security vulnerability, 1 medium, and 0 low. So the first one is this S3 bucket is highly vulnerable. It is publicly available. What we have to do is we need to configure this public access block configuration. Basically, turn off all the public access. That's pretty much it. And it shows how we're going to do it. And there is also confidence score here as well, because as we all know, large language models hallucinates a lot. So this data is not something that we can trust 100%. But there are some methods to improve the accuracy, and I'll come to that in a bit. Again, S3 bucket, because I already have S3 bucket. This is the second one. I also have overly permissive IAM role. this IAM role has access to every S3 bucket in my AWS account. This is a huge risk. Yeah, I have a Postgres database, RDS, and it is also publicly available, which is not the best practice. The best practice is put in an isolated subnet, and after that, create a bastion host, and other developers or apps can connect those RDS either using isolated VPC configuration or network, or developers can access using bastion host. And yeah, we have a lot more vulnerabilities. So now I can fix it, fix the mistake, and I can push the same thing into this branch PR, and it will trigger my agent again, and it will generate report one more time. So I didn't use diff here. So as I mentioned earlier, let's go to here and diff. Yeah. So I use analyze CDK function instead of analyze CDK diff in as a GitHub action workflow. There is a reason for that. You have to provision resources so you can have a deployed stack, and after that you can start use this analyze CDK diff. So if I deploy my version, the first version, and after that if I add S3 buckets, I can run CDK diff command, which is here. But now I can't run diff thing because I didn't provision those resources. So I just want to mention if anyone is curious about this. But
No,
yeah, normally GitHub Action workflow use the diff method.
So this time, Joseph, because you hadn't deployed this yet, you just synthesized the CloudFormation JSON.
Yes.
You analyzed it, so you kind of know ahead of time, hey, if you deployed this, you'd be, setting up all these vulnerabilities would be active. So, you should probably fix them first. But then if you already had buckets out there in production, you could do these diffs, you could do diff against it as you propose changes and see how that would affect those existing resources.
True, cool. True. Yeah, that's pretty much it. I want to do a couple of more things like CDK NAC, for example. So obviously it just uses the knowledge of LLM, but this is not something that we can trust. So we have some rules publicly available, like AWS solutions, the best practices, or some other things. If we go into here, I wanna basically download this whole file. So it's a markdown, and I want to basically parse this data, by their categories, and vectorize it using LensDB. And when we do diff next time, it will go to this place and fetch the related ones and use in the analyze markdown. But yeah, let's see. So I'm gonna make this repo public. So if people are curious, they can, create a PR, support, or just follow. Yeah.
Oh, that's fun. That's the future. Kind of like, so right now, it's fair to say that you're relying on the fact that these LLMs, like the GPT models and such, they've got a lot of experience with seeing CloudFormation.
Yeah.
They got a lot of experience with these, well-known vulnerabilities, and so they can give you pretty good answers. But by enhancing it with kind of some RAG, basically from these sources that are producing new intelligence about new attack vectors and things, you can kind of have an intelligence stream that you're pulling in and updating over time. So that'll be really cool to see how you incorporate that.
Yeah, absolutely. So I think LensDB is great with Dagger because it's basically embedded vector database. It keeps your data locally in SQLite. So even if you didn't vectorize your data earlier, you can run it in the runtime. So that's very powerful. This is something that I want to experiment very soon.
Very cool.
One of the questions that came in was around like bucket names. Like, as you were testing this, have you seen that the reports adjust if you change something around the names of the buckets?
Yeah, let me see the question.
Like from a prompt injection point of view, like if
since it's like part of the,
you need to sanitize the input to the LLM essentially.
No, I haven't done it yet. Maybe it's something that I can explore.
Yeah, I'm super curious about that too. Like, as people are trying to jailbreak these LLMs different ways, and whether, by naming buckets certain ways in a PR, in a public project, and there's such a scan past such a jailbreaking bucket name in, and who knows, right? I mean, it's like it's fascinating. It does seem to suggest that sanitizing your inputs is always a good thing. So
yeah,
be a great enhancement.
True. This is this prompt, by the way.
yeah, I'm just taking a moment to read it.
Very
so
cool.
It's basically you're a SecOps expert, analyzes CloudFormation resources for security vulnerabilities, and it just lists all of them.
Nice.
I mean, this is the app I built in 2 hours.
Right.
That is amazing.
Project.
That's one of the coolest things, is that you were able to just like jump on this very quickly. And I want to, since we have some extra time, and you're primarily in platform engineering, right? So like
Yes.
how is this transition of then jumping to agents for you? Was that, I know you said you learned about a month ago and then joined the Hack Night, but was that kind of your first time working with the agents, or have you been doing a lot of stuff on the side to get integrated into all the new stuff?
Oh yeah, it's a great question. So I'm working in the ML ops area time to time. So I was building a lot of ML ops pipelines and machine learning applications as well, applied machine learning. Even though I was working on the GPT-2 back then, so I was into this place since the beginning. It's just my hobby, and yeah, this is something that I do in my spare time. But I was looking for a place that I can build an app and use in my job, or open source it. Oh, by the way, before here I was working on open source project, Tazam open source transaction monitoring platform. So, I love working on open source projects. So I just put many things together, connect the dots, and I said, okay, this is my hobby. What can I do? And I think AI agents, SRE platform engineering, this is a perfect place, this app. So I think I can contribute, open source it. Yeah.
Yeah, this is great. And as someone who, is there any advice you give to platform engineers who are just getting started or not really sure where to start? As they're getting into the AI space?
Oh, that's tough, but great question. I think for the ML ops, they can start using private inference APIs and understand how large language model is being deployed and used. They can experiment many things like caching, LLM caching, how can reduce the number of tokens, implement some Q&A pipelines, A/B testing pipelines. Also, knowing the basics are very important. Now, everyone is jumping on the large language models without knowing how the machine learning algorithm works. That's not a very good plan in the long term. I think they can go and learn the basics, like they can start with statistics. Also, I like to experiment private Kubernetes cluster at my home. I try to deploy, basic large language models using OpenLLM or Ollama, and this is also something that they can do, I guess.
Yeah, that's very, very helpful. Because I think we're seeing a lot. That's been the fun part about doing like the hack nights and stuff, is that meeting a lot of people who are just getting into it, and they're saying, like, hey, I'm doing platform engineering all day. That's what I need to focus on, and I really want. And now there's a shift of, let's focus on agents, and they're getting that now on their roadmap for their teams, which is great. But then it's like, okay, how do I get started? There's so much. Every day you wake up and there's so many new things, and seeing people get started so quickly at the hack nights by just following our build an agent tutorial that Jeremy's team has wrote has been really cool, because there's a lot of people who jump into that tutorial and have no agents experience beforehand. I know you had a little bit, but like look at what you built in 2 hours. It's amazing.
How did you generate your beautiful report that ends up in the PR comment?
Share your screen. I can add your screen back.
And to dovetail into the last thing where we were, you're talking about the struggles of sometimes getting consistent outputs, like report formats and things from these tools.
Yeah. So let's go to the first function, analyze CDK. So here, after performing LLM analysis, we generate the reports, and we return this report content here. Yeah.
Yep.
And after that, in GitHub Action workflow, let me open that one. Yes. So in this GitHub Action workflow, I'm calling this analyze CDK function that returns that report and exports and save as markdown file. So here. So this is my file, and after that, I say, if you don't have a report, so this is a fallback message. The SecOps agent was unable to analyze the CDK code. Please check the logs, basically. But if I have this SecOps report markdown, I basically read the file, and after that, use this function. So this is a standalone function to list comments in the GitHub pull request. So if I have a comment already, I update this comment. If I don't have it, I basically use that report as a comment body and push into it.
Oh, nice. Wow. Yeah. Just a little standalone script. And then in the analyze, where you're actually generating that file in analyze CDK, what does that look like?
So the content is exactly the same as we see here, but this app supports GitHub Action workflow, pull request comments, and you can also run locally. So that's why it returned the content here, report content. Let me just show it here. So if you have the report, you can use it in wherever you want, because this is the output, right? You can push it here. But the next thing I want to do is, it works with the local CDK repos. This place, I want to make it work with the remote repository. So let's say I want to use external CDK library that I want to check the security vulnerabilities.
Right.
And I want to push it here. And after that, it can generate reports. And locally, as I said, if you call this one, the exact same thing, it will generate it. So we already have generated report, if I'm not wrong. Yeah, SecOps reports. Oh, it's empty right now because it just remove the previous one and generate the empty. It's going to put this report into that file in a second.
And so this is, yeah, that's the part I was interested in, is that you're actually, so that's actually coming out as generated content from the LLM in this case.
Yes.
Yeah. I could see it, you know, writing it live as you were running it. Very, very cool. And can you show that function? Because I think you showed it at the very, very beginning. Can you show that generate function? I think that's where you're probably making your call to the LLM itself.
Generate function, yes. So, yeah. So generate report is just here.
Yeah, generate report.
So in this generate report, we basically count the number of the high, medium, and low security vulnerabilities.
Oh, nice.
This analysis, this variable has my content. So the report is already there, right? Before coming to generate report function.
Oh,
so we count them and add emoji. I like emojis. And after that, I start creating my report. The first line is the findings, high, medium, and low. And I sent the numbers to here. And after that, CDK security scan reports. Let me show it here as well. Yeah, CDK security scan reports and summary. And the summary is basically all these places. And I have a logo. Yeah, I didn't show that one.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, this logo. But yeah, this logo path is wrong. Yeah, this is the logo.
Love it.
Yeah, this is
remember
how
that from
we
the hack
generate
night.
it.
When you showed that logo, you instantly had the crowd at that point. So that's like,
yeah.
Jeremy, correct me if I'm wrong, but I feel like this type of thing in the report he's generating is something that also like Lev could look at and probably integrate a little bit of what Joseph has learned for his reports as well too, right?
I mean, yeah, for 100%. I think it's good lessons for all of us in here. And then can you show the actual where you're actually invoking the LLM function as well?
Yes, perform LLM analysis. Perform LLM analysis. Yeah. So yeah, it's the. By the way, during the hackathon, I start using the previous version of Dagger, and I built the app. And in the meantime, I upgraded to the latest one, and it broke the app. I had to fix it. Yeah.
Oh God. Oh yeah, because I think you did. I think we did our release like a moment before before the hack night.
Right. So, we added the environment API and kind of changed a couple things there. So
yeah. So in this perform LLM analysis, basically, I sent the prompt that I showed earlier, and yeah, and after that, we get the last reply, and we use this analysis to generate reports. Let me show where do we use it here. My prompt is here. Create prompt template is another function. I didn't want to duplicate the codes. That's why I create this function. So this is my prompt. So I use this prompt and send into perform LLM analysis. And yeah, after that, using this analysis, I generate the reports.
Nice.
Yeah.
One of the comments that came in was that they were suggesting exporting as a file and not a string, so it won't accidentally expose any credentials. So
true. So the previous version actually generate the file internally. But when I start to use GitHub Action Workflow, I realized that I can't export it easily. But yeah, maybe I should spend more time and figure it out. Also, in the GitHub Action Workflow, I didn't use the official library. I installed the CLI manually. This is also something that we can definitely improve.
Nice.
Yeah, this is really fascinating, Joseph, because I think what it shows is what you did was you took, you developed a a really good prompt that was really effective for your use case of analyzing changes to CloudFormation, and then really the part that brought in the LLM was just like a call to, just being able to add a call to an LLM right into the flow of your code.
Yeah.
And bam, you've kind of, and you had built such as like a really nice structure for getting these nice consistent results, to have them show up, in your PRs, to have them be triggered by the changes that are applicable. And yet, the part that actually access the LLM is very, very small, very, very simple, but powerful in this case. It really multiplied the effect of everything else. Very, very cool.